and even the media houses and everybody and all Kenyans, let's stick to the facts.
It does not work like that. It does not work like that. The frequency from here to the...
If I understand my colleague here,
just a minute, the frequency from here...
He's actually saying that even media houses are somehow compromised. Because I'm simply asking myself a question.
Media only beams. Media only beams.
I'm actually asking myself a question. That, whatever we are saying here now, is it the same thing that the viewer is getting? That's the question.
We are not sure.
Okay.
So they could get between us and the viewer.
Okay. I've hosted you, so you will be so sure whether whatever you'll be saying here is true.
I normally go and watch it again.
It's interesting. Another thing that the IBC is talking about is the KIM system remained part of the electoral system. I think this was part of a system of enhancing the electoral system that we had. Remember the KIM skit?
Yes, yes.
Okay, exactly.
Yes.
It's going to remain the same. And then the results, management rules is also going to change. It deletes key provisions governing presidential results verification. All right? And I'll get you more details. But even as we talk about that, the advancement in terms of having the electoral system tamper-proof and having more faith in the independent body has been something that it's been work in progress for a very long time. From 2007, remember, we had, Kivitu Commission.
Yes.
People went to the street and, there are some changes that we had, all that. We went to 2002, and now we are in 2027. The leaps and bounds that as a nation we've made, taking some of them off that system, do you think is going to make it better or even worse? Let me start with Oscar.
Let's get back to Kriegler report after 2007 political violence. But Kriegler said that technology alone cannot solve our problems. Because human being and human interference is also part and parcel of those things are managed by human beings. And now what they're doing here, even for us to solve a lot of things, KRA, blah, 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 yes, we've solved them because of removing so much human interference. What they're doing here is removing the RO, returning officer, from sending a different result from the primary data. And because they've realized that the problem, that is where the problem is. So we're going deep into the problem. But don't send in, don't key in the wrong one. And if you're not keying in, tuma kwa WhatsApp. Hiyo ni check umeandika. See, piga picha ya check and alafu nitumie kwa WhatsApp. I'll see that you've done it. But just writing to me figures, I'm not sure if the figures that you've written are the same figures that were verified. Who verified them? They are just verified. So tuma kwa WhatsApp your picture, send me the video, give good evidence of what you're talking about. But just writing things, as the RO has been writing things, then we live stream it, and then KBC and other broadcasting houses stream the same things. We've been streaming wrong results. In future, and I've told you in future, what we should do away with, and what I think, the illegal thing in these things, which I've always talked about in this station, the illegal place, the bombers of Kenya, the police that thing.
ILOG actually proposes that the tallying center should be abolished.
It should be abolished because the election has ended.
And then, where will we have
in the polling station?
If ILOG plays a very key role in the electoral system.
Yes.
Okay. So if the National Tallying Center is abolished, and we're not speaking on their behalf, we're just doing analysis. What should be the overall point where the presidential results will be picked?
What is done in other jurisdictions, for example? I'll give you. For example, in the US. US, what is done is that the media can always call it. And Victor, who is seated here, can say, if Donald Trump wins Texas and takes California, then he is one.
That's a different.
What I'm saying is that as much as when the results are there, and for people to know, anybody can get to know what results there are. Yes, anybody can get to know. When Raila Odinga and the rest in ODM were saying that they want to make their own tallying center, not just to make the tallying center because they want to declare the results, but they want to know. So by the time Raila Odinga and the rest goes to Supreme Court, they already have the results.
Okay.
But this time round, Raila Odinga and his team went to Supreme Court, but they didn't have results to counter what the IBC is saying. They needed their own tallying center to have the results. Not to declare the president, but they have the results. Where are the results? The results are in the IBC portal. You don't have to go to Bomas to get results, because Bomas results are wrong.
Okay.
Because Boma's results are results of an algorithm. Because Boma's results, there's Jose Kamago in the Boma's results. So anybody should be able to go to the portal and get the primary data, and you can tell.
Oscar, I know you're widely traveled. Have you been to Todonyang?
Yes, I've been.
Bikon one, uko juu.
Yes.
I've
been there.
And you've seen those people. Do you think they're in a position to download that form? No, I'm just asking. For a matter of national concern,
yes.
Do you think they're in a position, Todonyang or Todenyang, the other side of Ethiopia, to download that form and say, this is it?
That is why Todonyang votes, for example, candidate A, who runs a campaign, a big campaign center. In the campaign center that you run, for example, presidential candidate, you have the tallying team, you have the communication team, you have the what team, you have the bloggers team, you have very many different teams here. For the person who is voting for them in Todonyang. But expecting everybody to get the results, what we are querying is that the person in Todonyang should not just get results and they're not the real results.
Okay, help us to square this, because who should we trust? The bloggers he's talking about, the media that you're talking about,
the primary data.
The primary data, which is okay,
34B.
Which is fine. But where is the central collection point?
Victor,
we
joke a lot. We actually joke a lot with the document that we have in the name of the Kenyan Constitution of 2010, which clearly spells out the roles of everyone as far as an electoral system is concerned. What my colleague is saying, that we should do away with the tallying center, I don't find it to be reasonable. For the simple reason that the Constitution tells you to do A, B, C, D, but you choose to do X, Y, Z.
The Constitution doesn't say that, doesn't talk about tallying center, does it?
It talks about transparency. So how do you achieve that transparency? How do you achieve that transparency? You know, Victor, the devil thrives in darkness. When IEBC is striking out transmission of the results, they are denying Kenyans. They are creating some room of darkness where Kenyans are not able to see.
They're not taking away transmission. They're saying live streaming.
IEBC should ensure that the rights as enshrined in the Constitution, including the right to information, are protected. They are guaranteed, they are realized as far as elections are concerned.
Yes.
What they should be doing is deal with that rogue returning officer who enters or keys in wrong data in a primary document. The problem is not the primary document from how it moves from the polling station to the national tallying center. The problem is that one person who enters wrong results.
Okay. This is what the proposal says. The change is contained in Section 19 of the bill, which proposes to amend Section 39 of the Elections Act. The bill specifically states that Section 39 will be amended by deleting subsection 1G, and under the existing Section 39 1G, IEBC is required to establish a mechanism for the live streaming of results as announced at polling stations.
Why are they amending?
That is what they're amending.
Why are they amending?
That is what the article
Why are they denying Kenyans the rights to information? Why are they infringing on the provisions of Article 86 as far as transparency, simplicity is concerned?
Live streaming should just go on even if they're wrong results. Should just have a live
it is them.
Okay.
It is them to provide.
The live streaming has been giving them the wrong results. So
it is them saying. It is them to come.
Kenyans must just get that information, even if it is wrong.
It is them to come with the right information
to give Kenyans.
And they're saying the right information is the primary data.
Okay. So, what do you think? Because the law also gives Kenyans the primary obligation to get information.
Yes.
So if they're not going to live stream it, so the question is, how are they going to get information?
Kenyans?
Yes.
I've said it for the fourth time.
No. IBC, what are they going to do to make sure that Kenyans get the right information?
The right information is get the primary documents, tally the primary documents, announce the results.
How do you do that?
You download those documents and announce the results based on the verified documents based on the right information, based on the primary data.
Okay.
But live streaming is Jose Camargo. Live streaming
We
is
want to understand,
an
Victor.
algorithm. And
Victor,
you
we want to
say,
understand.
stop this thing because this thing is giving us too many spoiled votes. Stop this thing because this thing is an algorithm. Stop this thing because Jose Camargo is already in the system.
We want to understand what is the problem with that result at the polling station and the results at the National Tallying Center.
The results at the polling station.
What happens in between here? Whose responsibility it is? Is it to ensure that whatever is in the polling station is actually what is in the National Tallying Center? That is the question that IBC need to answer. Yes.
Okay. Let me just take two comments here from the viewers. One, somebody called Charles Mbaka. Charles says that 2027 general election, the president will survive, but 60% of members of parliament will go home.
How does that have to do with whatever we are discussing?
That is his opinion. That is his opinion. Another one, we can blame IBC, media houses, the system, politicians and their goons till chicken come home to roost. The Kenyan solution to election is as simple as the electoral system and the technology that is monopoly, IBC. We have the world's most advanced money mobile transfer system, I think what you're talking about. It captures more Kenyans than IBC.
Yeah.
Use it, but create multi-layer monitoring system that can be as simple as live streaming. Leshao from Kajiado.
Even those money things like Safaricom and M-Pesa, they get hacked. They're not just 100% like, things happen in technology. And I'll tell you, for example, if trust is to trust, I will even propose something that is very traditional, that the Mlolongo system was even much better now. The Mlolongo system, like, where was Mama Pale? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
We are going back to the old age.
Oscar, we are going back to 1992.
Yeah,
Old soul age.
that's what I'm getting. So we have to do this. For us not to go back there, let us see, where did the rain start beating us? But the Mlolongo system was a very simple system. Our system is only problematic because the more you're going ahead, the more you're complicating a very simple thing. Don't complicate.
Mike, even that Mlolongo system, there was a central point where national
the problem
results.
that needs to be solved.
But the Mlolongo system, let me tell you.
Victor, the problem that needs to be solved is a question of integrity. That how reliable, how honest, how transparent is this person collecting the results?
Do you think the people, what we see on social media are people who have attended rallies? Is it real? Most of them are AI. This is technology. You're complicating a very simple thing. What I'm saying, and what IBC is saying, that let's not complicate. The more you think, you're thinking too much. Because you're thinking in terms of technology. And I think the problem between me and you guys is because of age. I'm a bit older than you guys, probably.
He's saying that Sifuna does not have the crowd. You.
Okay. There's another gentleman who says, just a minute, Peter says, I think some of the media machines become faulty during the process, then they live stream wrong results.
Yes.
That's one.
Yes.
Another gentleman also saying that, good morning, Kenya. I think that the primary data is, as you guys are saying, is important for the knowledge of the general count.
Yes.
It nevertheless is at the various levels from the constituencies to the national tallying house, stamped and signed. Yes. It's final, I think.
It's final.
You know, Victor.
Thank you.
If your camera is faulty, it will either pause so that there is no movement which is happening, or the screen will go black.
We don't want to get where the camera is getting faulty.
So the question is, whatever that is being live streamed, because I believe right now we are doing live streaming.
Okay, let me ask you.
Yes.
So the question is,
who is doing live streaming?
This camera is here. This camera is here
doing
for
live
IBC,
streaming. Who does the live streaming?
It is the media.
No. The live streaming that we are talking about is what is...
IEBC is doing transmission of electronic transmission of results. That is where the question is. That as they electronically transmit the results from the polling station to the National Tallying Center, the question is, whatever they are transmitting, is it accurate?
I think Wakili didn't read this one. But what you are saying...
Okay. There's another point here.
There's another one?
There's another point here, which I think is very important. Speaking at the level of presiding officer, having had this responsibility before, once the results are collected and the forms signed by the representatives, they are sealed and taken to the next level for adding.
For adding. Right?
Final? Yes.
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 But that is again talking about, because the presiding officer is accounting officer at that level. What he's saying, that those documents that are final, that are signed, are stamped, are the primary data that should be relied on. Make sure these documents get to the right place. Make sure we tally based on those documents. But if somebody else brings some data which is live streamed, and we are saying that the interference in bringing that data becomes a problem. And we are saying algorithm, and we are saying Jose Camargo, and we are saying all these things.
Wakili,
We are setting up the country.
Oscar, I'll treat that as your final remarks.
Yes.
Wakili.
You see, what the Constitution is giving IEBC to do, or asking IEBC to do, is simple. As far as presidential results are concerned, the result at the polling station is final. That means that what IEBC needs to do is to ensure that whatever has been announced in Busara Primary School, polling station number 31, where Frank Nyamari votes, is the same result that is brought to Bomas of Kenya.
And that's the same results
Hannah?
that KBC should
live stream. That is what
Back to Frank
that is what
in
IBC.
Busara.
That is what IBC.
Okay.
That is
So
what
now we agree.
IBC should be doing.
Now we agree.
Yes.
Okay.
We agree.
When it comes to other elections, which are not announced at the National Tallying Center, they are announced at the constituency level, those things. IEBC should do the same. That result is taken to the constituency tallying center and announced there the way it is. So the question that IEBC needs to answer is not the question of live streaming results from media houses.
Okay,
it is a question of ensuring that the vote at the polling station is protected. It is accurate at the National Tallying Center.
I've gone for election. Like in 2022, I was in the ballot for an election. What happened is this, that we had agents at the polling station. Then we had tallying agents at the center, for example, where the RO sits, who again produces another document. The document starts from 16A. This document is the registration document. It goes until 34B. You know, those documents that we call 34B, they don't start from 34B. They start from document 1. That is the process until it gets to 34B. That is the last document at Bomas of Kenya. So when you get the same document, they are produced based on those documents. From 34B is produced based on from 1. 1 is the registration application when you apply to be a voter. Okay. Then it goes all the way, but they're based on just the primary data.
Oscar.
And that's what IBC is saying, that let's rely on primary data, let's not rely on stream data. For example, when I ran for Senator in Sia last time, by 9 o'clock, I'd already known my conceding document was prepared because I've gotten the results. IBC announced the results after 2 days.
Because the constituency and other county and other positions is different from the national.
What I'm saying, anybody who is running for president should not wait for 7 days. They should be able to have the results by the evening of the next day.
And Victor, the simplicity part is the question of adding numbers. So, for example, in Busara, we have maybe 40 polling stations. So the question is, polling station 1, what did Raila get? Polling station 2, what did... And the question is, how many polling stations do we have in the country? All across the country. So that we add those numbers. That is how simple the results should be.
This is debatable. This is truly debatable. And I think even you as Kenyans out there, you are still asking yourself so many questions. Live stream or live stream. Oscar, you have your opinion, which is okay.
Which is the right opinion.
Exactly. And you also have the right to information, remember?
Yes, true.
As the same as that.
I also have the right opinion, which is also the legal opinion.
Which is true. So
and that is what should be that is what should be done, embraced. Yes.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. Accept apology from Gibson Gesore. He's rushed to court to attend to some urgent matters. Wakili, you know that when it happens. So yeah, we take your apology, Wakili. Asante sana for being part of the show. Oscar Monde, asante sana. He's a political analyst in the University. Don, he's also a researcher, by the way.
Yes.
Thank you for coming. Wakili, asante sana for coming. Frank Nyamari.
Thank you.
All right, let's take a break. GMK continues after this break.
Ni kila Ijumaa kutokea saa 1:30 mpaka saa 4 kamili. Inakuwa ni burudani kiukamilifu ya Afrika Mashariki.
Tunakupatia umbea kwa segment inaitwa The Big Story. Tunachanua what's happening in social media. Msanii amefanya nini na nani.
Kando na mziki mzuri wa Afrika Mashariki, The Big Story pia anawaletea mastaa tofauti ndani ya studio. Kutoka Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, yani ukanda mzima wa Afrika Mashariki.
Na kumbuka pia unaweza interact na sisi kwenye mitandao, yani social media platforms, that is Facebook, Instagram, X na hashtag ni ile tu, #WaMasharikiLive.
Tunakupa mix kali kutoka kwa DJ Kuch, muziki ya kizazi kipya iliyotamba inazidi kutamba na ambayo tunaitambariza zaidi.
Exactly, and as always msiaisahau, lazima tuwapatie burudani yenye vitamin extra.
Get ready for a captivating continental football extravaganza. KBC Channel 1 brings you exclusive coverage of the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations, WAFCON. From Sunday the 26th of July to Sunday the 16th of August 2026, welcome to Morocco! Morocco is the battleground as Nigeria defend their title against 15 other nations fighting to lift the prestigious trophy. Who will be crowned Queens of African Football? Courtesy of the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Creative Economy and Sports. Watch all the action unraveling on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Nice opportunity here for the Tanzanians, and it's the second goal. Really well transformed by number 3, Linus Ubamba Hasnat. Seeing the replay here, Hasnat, nice movement and a good strike which couldn't be saved by the goalkeeper. And it's the second goal for Tanzania.
All right, welcome back to Good Morning Kenya. My name is Mike Migu. Let's talk matters of environment now. The World Health Organization estimates that every year we lose around 7 million people due to matters that regard air pollution. Now, when you come to a city like Nairobi, where residents continue to raise concerns about traffic emissions, open waste burning, industrial pollution, that becomes a very important conversation that needs to be addressed. And recently, the Nairobi County did launch the Nairobi Air Quality Plan that promises to tackle these challenges. So we are going to take a deep dive and see if it means what it promises. And for that conversation, on my far left, I am joined by Dr. Godwin Opinde. Opinde is the technical lead, Nairobi Air Quality Action Plan of 2025 to 2029. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
And also Jacob Omondi, a community representative, SDI Kenya. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Let's get into the conversation, and I will start with you, Dr. Opinde. You know, when the World Health Organization puts these concerns of around losing 7 million lives globally due to matters that are contributed by air pollution, what does that speak to? How serious is Nairobi air quality from where you stand?
From where I stand, Mike, we have poor air. And evidence has shown that we are exceeding WHO recommended standards. It's about 5 microgram per meter cube, but different studies are giving us averages of about 18 to 21 micrograms per meter cube. So it's poor air. We are doing badly. And of course, that's also reflected in the data that's presented from health. Diseases of high respiratory diseases related to poor air is also substantial. So we are not doing very well from where I sit. Yes.
So it's gravitating towards becoming a public health concern.
Actually, it is a public health concern. It's only that what the poor air kills slowly. It doesn't kill immediately, like a road accident.
Yes.
So by the time you are having this impact, it might manifest in different ways. It might manifest in form of cancer. It might manifest in form of many other kind of diseases that actually also are lifestyle kind of related. So you find that our reaction to it is slow because it doesn't have instantaneous kind of effect. Yeah.
The effect cannot be detected
immediately.
Instantly.
Yes.
And Jacob, how visible is this problem from the communities that you represent? Are there stories or that can illustrate this impact?
Yeah, so maybe from an informal settlement point of view where we work, you'll find there are so many cases related to chronic illnesses as a result of the respiratory diseases. So you'll find that there are so many diseases, like so many people are facing these effect of the air pollution. So you'll find that even when it comes to access to like better affordable healthcare is a little bit difficult, bearing the fact that these people are living in the informal settlement. They cannot even afford a meal a day. So how do we ensure that we also streamline our engagement towards supporting the air towards supporting the adoption of the action plan? So I think on my case, I'm looking at an opportunity where communities can be at the forefront of not only being engaged at the implementation phase, but the community are being engaged from the inception phase. Because if the community are engaged and a lot of awareness is done within the informal settlement, it will be easier for them to also see how best can they address this issue around air quality. And another thing, maybe when it comes to some of the causes of this, especially for the informal settlement, you'll find that even the renewable energy, people cannot afford. You imagine, like, majority of the people living in the informal settlements, they don't even afford maybe getting something like a gas, which is less pollutant compared to the use of charcoal. So I think on my end, I think there's a lot of engagement, and I'm looking at the action plan as an opportunity for community members to benefit out of it, and also maybe when it comes to even improving the public health care.
So there's a collective effort.
Yeah, it's a collective effort.
And you've mentioned something about awareness, carrying out awareness regarding matters that regard air quality within the city. Who is going to carry out this awareness?
First of all, the way I said before, it's a collective effort. So it's not about we as an organization or we as community. We have to bring different, it's a multi-stakeholder engagement where we need to bring the county government on board, we need to bring the national government on board, we need to bring the communities themselves on board. And as much as we are doing this awareness, there's an opportunity for community to also getting an information on what they need to what they need to address, talk about, and also maybe when it comes to adoption of the action plan, because if the community are not engaged, it's a little bit difficult. And we normally say for us as an organization, there's nothing for us without us. So we have to ensure that the community are part and parcel of the engagement so that we can achieve this. Because if communities are not being given an opportunity, they also won't adopt the action plan. So I think it's an opportunity for even the county government to ensure that communities are frequently engaged. And I think from the engagement we've had during the during the public transport engagement, which was held here at UN,
yes,
we brought different stakeholders within the transport industry. So we were trying to see how do we adopt the use of like e-mobility when it comes to introducing the electronic vehicles that can be used when it comes to ensuring proper transportation from work to home. And apart from that, we're also trying to see how do we ensure that even the existing cars that are using these other fuels, how do we ensure that they also adopt, and also maybe we transit so that we can also prevent these chronic illnesses that are being caused by the people, are being caused and also causing a larger effect to the community members, because it's more of a negative externality. Yeah.
Okay. Dr. Pinde, maybe when you talk about this implementation of this plan, maybe you'd give some of the highlights, the core areas that will be focused in the effort to ensure that the air quality within Nairobi improves.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. And maybe if you allow me, maybe just to pick up from what Job said.
Yes.
I'd like to put it forth that even in the development of the action plan, it was inclusive. And how was it developed? Maybe before I answer that question, it will be important for the viewer to understand that the communities were involved through their representatives. We had different agencies in the government involved, the funding agencies, and it was more of a multi-stakeholder involvement in the development of this. I happen to have led this. I'm from the university, but I happen to have led this from the technical aspect. And we did include even Manufacturers Association and many others. And so the document that came out and what we're talking about has actually input from all these segments of the society, including the community. And now regards to how then key areas that are to be implemented, which of course came up in all discourse to come up with this. One was on the area of data infrastructure. How can you measure? How can you actually act on something that you can't measure? And so on that front, through collaborations with different actors, including funders, I think the county benefited from, I think, Clean Air Fund and maybe WRI to be able to set up some of this infrastructure. On the other front, if you look at the action plan, you see that's ongoing. If you look at the action plan, there's also the thrust of community involvement. And if you look at the mission of this action plan, it's an inclusive, the word inclusive have been used, and specifically because communities and everyone has a role to play. So then, for the community segment involvement and awareness, for different set of communities, from those in low dense income areas, to communities of drivers, to communities of those maybe in the upper class, wherever, have to be involved in one or the other through awareness creation. You create awareness, and the awareness creation action, it is not for the county only. It has multiple actors, including room for public-private partnerships. The other way is even through research. And the research should be an action-oriented research where community participates in research. You see, if the community member is involved in measuring air and he sees what is happening with it, then you link that to his impact on health, and they can relate with it. And I can give a good example of one of the communities on the upper end of Nairobi. They were burning trashes. And immediately the monitor was indicating that the levels were much higher of PM. And so if you correlate that, then it makes sense to the community. So researchers also must work with the community. On the other hand, another highlight is issues of transport. Because transport contributes to almost 40% of this emission. And from the transport aspect, the actions that are there, we have one action for the control of emissions from vehicles. And so both national and county governments should work hand in hand to ensure that we have emission control for the vehicles through various interventions. And some of them are, of course, regulatory, but also some of them would require some adjustments in terms of the policies that we have. So issues of NMT, issues of electric vehicles, EVs, which Job was talking about, are also captured in that plan. And so there also another aspect of the plan that is also very important is the monitoring bit of it.
Yes.
And I know that's one of the things you'll ask about accountability.
Yes.
Who is accountable? And I'll flip it the other way. We are all accountable. The county government of Nairobi and the national government, there are some responsibilities that are accorded to them, which of course has implication on the air of Nairobi because of the activities that take place. The communities where we come from, the activities we undertake, which is actually contributing to the poor air. So it's a all-inclusive approach. And when you talk of NMTs, for instance, the plan indicates that the county should also work towards improving NMT. And for most of the planning bit of it, if it's planning for houses, for instance, the houses that we are having from the infrastructure point of view should be houses that are well aerated, to prevent exposure to indoor. And also there are houses that are designed in such a manner that they will allow us to have clean air. Of course, there are many activities, and you'll find that in the plan, it's detailed in terms of the sectors that are actually key. As you rightly mentioned, we have waste management, we have transport. Surprisingly, we have urban agriculture, which of course most of the people might not take it very seriously. But within Nairobi, there's urban agriculture, maybe in form of keeping the livestock in one way or the other, or also doing some of the farming, and it has some contribution to it. The other aspect is also on infrastructure, like the housing, like the roads, because even paving of the roads does contribute. If the road is not paved, we talk of emission of particulate matters, not only from the vehicles, but also the activities that we take more and more. And I would have talked much of it, Jamaica, I think because of interest of time. Those are some of the areas I would highlight.
There's an aspect of, when it comes to transport, there's an aspect of, you mentioned e-mobility. We shall come to that. But I want to engage you, Jacob. You know, residents often witness open waste burning, we have smoky vehicles and illegal dumping, which is one of the problems that have persisted within the city. From where you stand, are these isolated incidents, or it's a symptom of deeper governance failures from where you stand?
I think from where I stand, it's about attitude and behavior. First of all, we have to accept that community themselves also have to take the initiative of saying, no, we don't want this sort of air pollution. So how do we ensure that even community members become accountable to maybe the kind of air pollution that is being polluted within where they stay? So maybe I can give an example of Mukuru kwa Njenga, which is just adjacent to the industrial area. So you see, industrial area, there are so many industries, but when it comes to regulation of this industry and the kind of smoke they produce, it's a little bit still low. So I think it's an issue of governance, and I think when it comes to governance, so who are the people responsible? I think the responsibility should be collective when it comes to the county government, when it comes to how do we ensure that even the enforcement bit of this regulation, because the county government has the best regulation framework, but when it comes to even the enforcement of these laws, it's a little bit difficult. So how do we ensure that even community themselves, they also adhere to these? Because you will find that we have the industrial area, and the industrial area, it is also causing a negative externality to the community, because the community themselves, they don't even benefit from the industry itself, but the industry causes air pollution to them, and thereby bringing illnesses like pneumonia, even to an extent of even having a lung cancer, which is very bad to the community. So I think when it comes to who should be in charge, I think it's about everyone should be involved.
Yes, and you know, Dr. Godwin, He mentions something very important, the issue about enforcement. There are rules and regulations to be enforced. But then again, there is a gray area when it comes to enforcement. How will that be addressed now that this plan is there? How will that be addressed?
Now, if you clearly look at the plan, one of the areas that the plan has also highlighted is issues of enforcement. And on it, you'll find that there are gaps that were identified in form of even the capacity. Now, in form of capacity is not only the numbers, but also capacity in terms of knowledge. How can you enforce something you don't understand? So there are efforts that have been put in place within the plan to ensure that even the enforcer is trained on what this air quality is. You know, most of these enforcers, they were not trained on air quality. So they're trained to understand what is this poor air? How does it affect you? Why is it important that you enforce? But apart from that, they're also taught on how you can enforce such. And one of the things is in enforcement, you can use several aspects. One of the interesting one is when you've done proper public participation, proper awareness, people are convinced that this thing is actually something that we need to carry as ourselves and is impacting on us. You are likely to see what we refer to as voluntary compliance, where people are the ones who take up the role and even put the authority to check. I can give you a good example because this journey of air quality and planning for Nairobi, we've had the first plan, this is the second plan. Luckily, I was involved in both. What actually pushed even the policy to place what you're talking about, what we have now for the air quality in Nairobi, was actually the awareness that was created in an area close to Viwandani, I think South Bios, and of course the people came up in arms and they held their MCA to account. And because of that, we had some of these policies being pushed through and going through the system, because now the people are the ones who had actually realized that this is on duty. Now, on the other hand, in terms of enforcement, I talked of capacity, but I also talked about ensuring that the actions that are in this plan are also integrated or also are in line with the county integrated development plan for Nairobi. Because the budgeting takes place and this informs on how even budget allocation and resources are taking place. So if at all this plan is not in sync with that, then you're likely to have a gap. But fortunately for this plan, we were very keen, the stakeholders were very keen to ensure that it actually aligns to the county integrated development plan. And with that, it gives it an advantage because then it becomes easily implementable. And you can see, for instance, you mentioned issues to do with the EVs, and you can see something is happening. I'll bet you'll ask how effective it is.
Not even its effectiveness, but you know, this an aim of reducing emissions. And you know, the issue of electric mobility is a very important issue. So my question to you here is, how are you roping in the national government to ensure that the adaptation of electric mobility is seamless, especially within the city?
Now, I may not answer that question because I'm not this county government, but I can answer it from one of the technical people that were involved. How did we ensure that that would work? Because if you look at some of the actions within the plan, uses deliberate words such as collaborate with the national government or specific ministry to ensure that this action is undertaken. Okay? And through having such, then you know they are measured at the end. And when such is put in the plan, and they have a good working framework, and I can give example of one of the good things that happened for Nairobi in terms of air quality, is having the Nairobi Air Quality Working Group, which brings in civil society, national government, NEMA is in it, we have universities like us, we're in it, and many other stakeholders. And through this platform, then we are able to engage. And so it also gives it a robust kind of way to have that coordination. So the national government coordinates with the county government, as much as they work on the policy issue, but sometimes on the implementation is the county government. So that clear framework is very, very important. But as we're speaking, they're working on a goodwill. As much as there are also regulations that are actually giving that opportunity for collaboration.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Very important. Jacob, you know, citizens have a responsibility, especially those living in a city like Nairobi. Yet, some of them may argue that there is a lack of practical alternatives. But then again, where should the balance lie between individual behavior, because you talked about behavior, individual behavior, and county government service delivery, especially when it comes to matters of environment?
Yeah, so I think for me, I can say like air pollution is not only environmental issue, it's also a social justice issue. So when it comes to air pollution, how do we talk about issues around behavior, the compliance itself, because as much as we are having the plan, so will the community themselves comply to this plan? When it comes to even the government, even the county government will be at a position, it will make it easier for the county government to like ensure that community themselves are adhering to this regulation if them themselves comply. And apart from that, you also need to look at this action plan as a social issue, an issue of social welfare. Because if it's an issue of social welfare, we are seeing an opportunity of most of the community members benefiting from it, because it will improve their health care. Then beside that, beside improving their health care, it will also ensure that as much as people are talking about air pollution, so how do you ensure that even them themselves get an understanding? We need to build capacity for the community members. And let me tell you one thing about the practical examples where community members. So we are within Mathare. I saw there's a group that bakes they bakes cake. Using waste. So this waste, while they are burning this waste, they are using an incinerator.
Oh, they're using waste as fuel.
Yes, and also
they're using waste to bake cake.
And also as fuels. Yes. And also beside that, they're using an incinerator to like reduce the amount of air that will pollute the environment, which is also an example that an initiative that the government itself or the county government can upscale, or maybe in terms of capacity build these young people so that they can maybe explore in other areas. And beside that, it will also be creating employment to them and also other community members. Then beside that, he spoke about issue around urban agriculture. We are having a lot of waste, the liquid waste. Where do our liquid waste go? So how do you ensure that even the organic waste that is coming from that, from the household, how do you ensure that it also helps in planting trees or planting like food crops, so that it can also bring better air within the community. So I think the community is also ready and willing, and we have like practical example of some of the initiative, the introduction of hydroponics. In terms of they are using this hydroponics farming as an urban farming to like produce food. So how do you upscale some of these projects so that you can also have like a cross-pollination, and whenever we want to like food, it will be easier. When it comes to addressing even issues around food security, it will be easier for the community themselves. So I think the government should just upscale the existing projects that are ready to address air pollution within the informal settlement.
And that will make a great impact.
And
Dr. Opinde, when you look at evidence, transport, as you put it, also there's industry and waste burning, including household fuels. They are major pollutants. Based on current data, from all that, which source contributes the largest share? And when you look at resources, where should public resources be directed to ensure that there is great impact?
Yeah, thanks for that question. And studies have indicated that, and I did mention it before, that the transport sector contributes massively. You know, we have quite a number of vehicles in Nairobi. Actually, I think much of the vehicles in the country are in Nairobi. And transport contributes in this way, from the emissions in the vehicles and also our driving culture. You know, when a vehicle is on idle,
yes,
or when you have also traffic, then the emissions are much more, okay? Transport also contributes. I mean, if you were to put our resources, and I can see government is working towards that direction, we should, one of the areas that we should work on is the transport, then followed by waste. But on transport, you can see some of initiatives that are coming in. Not only EVs, but also emission testing, which is a controversial issue. And I know you must have covered it. It's a controversial issue. You want the standards to kick in, but the public perception is maybe the government wants to make money from it. They're not looking at it from, it is saving me from a health issue. So there is that aspect also. So trying to control the emissions from the vehicles so that we have best fit vehicles which emit less. But that cannot be controlled that way alone. We also have the fuel bit of it. Yeah? Are we moving to cleaner fuel? Are we reducing sulfur content in our fuel? Because it's a linkage with the emissions that we're having. That's another thing. Another thing to look at is the driver behavior. And I think I mentioned that. How our drivers, have we created awareness of our drivers on how to drive in such a way that they reduce emissions? Okay? Infrastructure expansion, we've talked about that. E-mobility,
yes,
you've talked about that. And so if we have our effort galvanized towards this, we are going to improve substantially. But you see, one thing I'll tell you, these things are like Siamese twins. When you work on a vehicle and you haven't worked on waste, then it's like a zero-sum game. So all of this, we have to take all this to account. Thank you.
And one more question. You know, launching a strategy is the easy part. Then there's the implementation that raises far important and hard questions. One of them being, is this plan sustainable for the next 5 years? Is the county ready?
That question is very good for county. But from where I sit as technical expert, while developing this with other stakeholders,
yes,
those were the key questions we are asking ourselves. Are the actions we are putting here, are we able to achieve them within the next 5 years?
Yes.
And so it was all-inclusive approach. And you can see, if you take time, or a Kenyan takes time to look at that action plan, some of those action indicated there, they're already low-hanging fruits, and something is being done about them. So where I sit, we did evaluation for the 2019-2023. The implementation was about like 50%. We're not very, very good.
Yes.
And that led to the launch of this. And we're looking at the end, 2029, when we measure, how far will we have gone? But from where I sit now, look at it externally, I see there's some processes taking place. But though, you know, there's an aspect of the plan that you've not talked about. Plan is political. It requires political leadership. As much as it did indicate clearly that it's also social and issues of fairness and justice come in. So if the community is disinformed through politicking, then what's likely to happen, it becomes a disadvantage to them, and the plan doesn't work. And one thing I would want to say here, clear, that the plan is Nairobi City County Air Quality Action Plan. It is not Nairobi City County Government Air Quality Action Plan. It is for anybody and everyone who stays in Nairobi. So if we get that concept clearly, then it's not going to be a government thing, but mine. And when you come from that perspective and community understands that, then we are going to have success in some of the low-hanging fruits, including awareness. And one of the good things with the awareness is that with this plan, it opened the room for involvement of different players. I can give an history from the first one. It became like a shopping basket. Now, when you talk of having finances, such as WRI, Clean Air Funds, and many others coming in to help the county, it came because there was an initial plan, which actually showed this gap. For researchers, this plan, they can also pick issues from this plan to be able to write grants and funds, which can also help the county. The communities and CBOs can use this plan to be able to justify some of the funding proposal that they're putting in to help the community. And so if we look at it from the whole aspect approach, holistic approach, then this plan will be good for us in the next 5 years. And the next question we'll be asking ourselves after 2029, how much of it have we achieved? But that, the measure of that will largely play between, one, the understanding of the community in Nairobi, two, the politics within it, and three, the economics around the implementation of these actions. Because there's an economic aspect towards the implementation of some of these actions. Then how then do we turn it the other way around so that when we are costing, we see that it's more beneficial than the cost that we see we are being barred from. You see, when I tell you, move from this source of fuel, go to this, you feel like, I'm going to lose, this is more expensive or something. So there's also the fiscal policy within the country that will also, is very key to help this plan succeed. Thank you.
Very important. And I'll ask this question, and I'll take it as your closing remarks. You know, given this plan, granted, if data consistently show that pollution levels are rising in a particular neighborhood and there's little change on the ground, what should residents have to demand as something that demand action?
I think especially you've spoken about data, and we are I think for us as an organization, we are transiting from data to action, because we won't be only talking about data without even coming up with intervention. And maybe some of the intervention that our organization have done is to support groups within the informal settlement that are carrying out climate-friendly initiatives within the informal settlement. Then beside that, maybe I can also talk about the 4 A's that I think can also help community adapt to this. So the first A is about adoption. How do we ensure that we adopt this action plan? It's a good plan. I've read the plan itself. How do we ensure that we adopt it? Ensuring that we adopt it as communities. One, we ensure that we even simplify the language, the kind of language that we are using, so that the common mwananchi can also understand this language. The second one is adaptability. Are the community ready to adapt to these regulations that the county government is bringing? And when it comes to even compliance, are they even ready to comply to these regulations that the action plan is bringing? Then another thing is availability. So when it comes to availability, you are seeing an opportunity of how available is the county to ensure that regulation is kept at a top notch. Then how are community members also available when it comes to holding the government to account as to why the implementation has not been done. Then another thing was about affordability. So when it comes to this regulation, it comes with cost. And it's good that Godwin spoke about the economic aspect. So when it comes to cost, maybe in terms of the e-mobility, beside e-mobility, we are looking like the energy fuels. Are the community even ready? When it comes to even their cost of living, are they even able to afford these? Are they even able to afford these?
Alternatives.
These alternatives. Yes. So I think for my end, I think it's a long way to go. But I think for the plan, I think we'll achieve a lot, because we're having a lot of engagement with the community about the air pollution within the Breathe Cities campaign.
Yes. Daktari.
Yes.
If data shows spike in pollutions, where should communities raise demand?
Now, twofold. One, to the government but also within the community. And I want to give a case that was within our group, the working group, it was shared there, that somewhere in Karen, it spiked. And they realized the spike was because some people are burning trash within that community. So what did they do? The estate chairman wrote something to all estate residents that there's no burning of trash. You see, that's an immediate action that does not require county government, but you can work on it from there. So twofold, the way I've said it. Both the government, but the community, us ourselves. Yes, thank you.
So it starts with the person, with the community.
Yes.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming and talking about implementation of the Nairobi Air Quality Action Plan. This conversation ends now. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Mike Migwe. Vivian Degwa is up next with Women at the Forefront. Stay with us.
Tunatambulika kwa mandhari yetu ya kuvutia,
tamaduni zetu, ukarimu wetu, vyakula vyetu, uchapakazi,
na pia kwa sauti tofauti za watangazaji wetu waliobobea.
Libengo niko hapa aka upcoming sponsor. Bila shaka hapa ni kama PDG, ma deep state, pia vile cartels.
Tunaenzi talanta za pwani, tunakuza talanta za hapa kwetu nyumbani.
Tell a friend to tell a friend. Tuko mjengoni kama kawa na wanangu wengine wawili.
Usikose kutegea 103.1 Pwani FM, station ambayo itakupa fursa ya kupata uhondo kamili wa pwani na kuleta Wakenya pamoja.
Pwani FM, tafrija kipwani.
And we are back. Thank you for staying with us. Right now we talk, this is the Woman at the Forefront segment, and today we are talking matters mothers, and what we will be tackling is just safeguarding mothers in order for us to have a better future and safeguarding the future. That is the conversation that we will be having, and you know, if we get to look at the numbers, they are very disturbing, and these are the numbers of mortality, deaths, and the amount of babies that get to die while being born. And we'll be getting into that with our guest this morning. Her name is Elizabeth Wamwea, and Elizabeth Wamwea is Mama na Mwana project lead, St. John's Ambulance Kenya, and she's here to just let us in on what Mama na Mwana is all about, what they have been doing, the projects they have been undertaking on the same, and what that has been doing for the communities that they have been able to just be in touch with this project. Let's get into that conversation. So Elizabeth, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to have you here this morning.
And an honor to be here.
Yes. And I want us to begin with these numbers, you know, that we had talked about off air. And it's crazy that we have such high mortality rates in Kenya and in Africa as well, not just in Kenya. And most of these cases are preventable. So if you can just get into that and talk to us about the numbers.
Okay. Thank you very much. These are the statistics. Every day, within 24 hours, we are losing close to 16 to 18 mothers every day. if we multiply that by 30, that is per month, and you multiply that by the 12 months, we get into a staggering 6,000. And this is actually the reported cases. Now, when we go to our babies, the babies within the 28 days of life, we are losing close to 92 babies per day. Yes. So that is the picture that we have as a country.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's very worrying, and these numbers should really worry us because they are extremely high. Maybe where exactly is the problem, or where are the gaps that are preventable?
Okay, so we have what you call the 3 delay model. One, there's the aspect of the delay in seeking care.
Yeah.
Here I am, maybe as Elizabeth, I'm let's say a young mother, and I'm wondering, how do I start clinic? Assuming I'm about 19 years, for example, and we know that maybe you don't want to go and sit with other ladies who are much older, so you'll want to say, where is this that I can go that is comfortable for me as a young mother?
Yeah.
There's also the aspect of the access because of cost, right? Healthcare, we know, is a work in progress in terms of healthcare financing, in terms of affordability for the mothers. And of course, the third bit is access to quality care. So these are the 3 things that are actually hampering our dear mothers on the same. Yes.
Yeah. So when you talk about safeguarding mothers, where should this journey begin?
In fact, it should be from before conception. And I'll say that because there are times maybe we've had mothers who have had what we call bad obstetric history, like maybe you've been losing pregnancies frequently. So it means the intervention for this lady has to be different, because the first thing is to have a proper assessment by the gynecologist, by the doctor, and see what is this that is causing this particular issue. So once that is addressed, and you see most of the time it could be that when the pregnancy gets to a particular gestation, baby is out. So sometimes maybe this lady will need to have more information on maybe possibility of having a stitch to prevent the baby from getting out. And of course, this is after full evaluation by the medics on the same, right? So that is just one of it, right? So this has to start from preconception, and the journey actually starts by the time even the mother is declared pregnant through maybe the strips or any tests. And I can tell you what we call that's what we call the first trimester of pregnancy, which is the toughest. And trust me, access also to care at that particular trimester, which is the most important, is extremely low. Extremely low.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I believe mainly we get to experience this, the mortality rates, as we've put them, mainly in those remote areas. That is where maybe we are experiencing more of this. Is that the case?
Very true. Yes. It's interesting that as much as at the remote areas we are having mothers die, and mostly the top 3 bits that make our mothers die. One is hypertension in pregnancy. That it's just a menace, I can tell you, because you could be having a normal pregnancy within the first 6 months, 7, and maybe you're due within the next 2, and boop, the blood pressure goes up. There's the aspect also of bleeding after delivery. That also becomes a challenge. And also, you are at that state when you're pregnant and you have no blood, what we call anemia. So those are one of the top 3 ailments actually that are actually affecting our mothers, and most of the time either causing death immediately, and also causing babies to be born prematurely, and the threshold of them being able even to survive through even when they're in the neonatal unit is again another challenge in itself. Right.
All right, we'll get further into that. Now I would like for you to just let us in on the project that is Mama na Mwana.
Wow, Mama na Mwana is a beautiful story. Mama na Mwana is a program under St. John's Ambulance Kenya. St. John's Ambulance Kenya has actually been in Kenya for 100 years, right? So there are 2 areas in St. John's that we look at. One, the aspect of training, evacuation. I know mostly people know about the first aid trainings, evacuations whenever there are incidences, and most currently now they also have a project where they're trying to educate people to be just safe on the roads. Then there's the other element of community. And community touches actually on the area around public health, and that's where now Mama na Mwana sits. So Mama na Mwana is not new in Africa because 10 years ago, they've been running in Zambia, Zimbabwe, Malawi, and Uganda. So in 2024, Kenya would be picked, and would be picked because of those figures. Now, it's very interesting, the model of Mama na Mwana is working with community health promoters. So after we did what we call the assessments in 2024, where we were in Samburu, we were in Kilifi, and also we did the same in Kajiado, last year, 2025, would now commence the project, and the first step we did was to get the buy-in from county level, from national level, who have been very, very supportive, and now working with the community health promoters. So this is basically what we call the real bottom up. So with that, we were able to formulate an easy guide on maternal and child health, like a curricula. This is basically breaking down the purple book, the clinic book, so that our dear community health promoters would understand what are we looking at even as we do the visits. So the beauty about it is that if this is my area as CHP Elizabeth, and maybe I have about, let's say, 100 households, every pregnant mother will come to me or I'll go to them, right? And at that point, what are we doing? We are actually tracking close to 13 indicators. One of them being, like what I mentioned about, have you started clinic, right? And of course, there are those we find at advanced pregnancies and have not started. There are those who have young pregnancies at the first trimester, and you find that they're shy, but because of the goodwill with the CHPs, you find that they get confident because they actually even take them to the facility for treatment. So we also look at the aspect of also the number of antenatal visits that are also the mother has to take, which are about 4 of them. We look at the aspect, is the mother tested for HIV? We look at it also. We have a very strong component for male involvement. Yes? And it's so beautiful because the men have really received the program in a big way. They actually, the ones who are saying, they're telling their wives, you know what, please go to so-and-so. I can see they're doing a good thing because the CHPs come and not only to educate you as the mother, but they educate the entire family plus, or rather the husband or those who are in the households.
So the husbands also have a role to play in all of this.
You can say that again. I have a beautiful story about one of a situation that occurred. You know, when a mother is rhesus negative, there are 2 injections that she needs to get during her pregnancy, and they don't come cheap. Each is 7,000. So 2 of them is how much? 14. Now, when the lady came to clinic and was brought by the CHP, the first thing she said, we cannot afford that. This is too expensive. So just to show you the role of the community health promoter, when the community health promoter went for the home visit and spoke to the husband and said, you know what, I know this is expensive. However, this is important so that we can ensure that mama and baby are safe and the baby is born nice and healthy. So also when you break it down to the lovely gentleman and they understand, this is what he said. Now since I'm doing kibarua, I'll add another kibarua, and within 2 weeks, I should be able to figure out and ensure that my wife gets this particular injection. Fast forward, this particular baby was named after the community health promoter and constantly speaks about the great information. What she thought was impossible was made possible by the husband.
Beautiful story right there. And just also showcasing the importance of the CHPs, that's the community health promoters, and just the role they get to play in our communities. You know, how important they are should not be sidelined. And I feel like now it's also the right time to talk about if we can have more CHPs within our communities. Would that make a great change?
You've actually hit the nail on the head because we need more hands on the ground. You'll find that there are some areas that have got very high population and maybe there may not be any CHP in that area. So like for us as a program, what we do, we try as much as possible that at the area we have been allocated or that we are working with, we are able to enroll And most of the time you'll find that there are areas even we have to have more numbers because of the population of the area. So we cannot do without the community health promoter. One, because the element of trust is so important in the community. They know that if CHP, Liz or Vivian is there, this is the person who gives them the right information. And just to add on to that, in our execution of the program, we realize there's also a very large percentage of refugee moms, right? They're coming from East Africa and beyond. And what is happening is that when they get pregnant, they shy off, so that if there's any complication, you know what happens. However, the CHPs are very friendly. So they're even able to know if there's a new person who has come. They'll even assist them. They tell them, by any chance, do you have what you call the mandate or a document that shows you're here? Because in the event you have that bit, what you call the alien ID, they are able to even activate the SHA for you. And when that SHA is activated, it's able to assist this mother during pregnancy, when she's going for her checkups, and delivery. Yes.
Where exactly is this project ongoing right now?
Okay. Kajiado is extremely vast, and since we are at the pilot phase, and this is like our second year, we are currently in Kajiado North. However, we have a whole strategic plan of the rollout. We hopefully, maybe by next year, we should be able to roll out now further beyond to an area called Magadi. Right now we're in Ongata, Rongai, Olekasasi area, Gataka, that area of Kajiado North. So we want to just continue following the belt through, down, Ngong, Matasia, up to Magadi. And then in the next phase now, we go on the other direction of Isinya and Kajiado West. The whole idea is that hopefully within 4 years, that county should be covered. And hopefully, if it's possible to replicate this in other counties, this actually would be a great game changer for itself. Yes.
So you've been in Kajiado for the past 2 years?
We'll be 2 years in December.
Okay.
Yes.
Are there visible changes that you can speak of?
Oh my goodness. Yes. You know, when we started off the program, and we deliberately work with the government facility, the sub-county hospital, which is level 4, already, of course, it has large numbers of mothers who come seeking antenatal care and delivery. However, the health center level, because of maybe a few resources that need to be put in place, you'll find that the mothers will not mostly go that direction. The inception of Mama Namwana, working together with the community health promoters, actually, and I can tell you the county government has been extremely supportive. So that bit of creating awareness brought about flow to the other health centers. And what happened? More human resource was deployed. The laboratories were able to offer the tests, what you call the basic tests, and especially for antenatal and above. And also the people also developed a lot of confidence because the staff are equally extremely good and extremely kind and are able to assist the mothers. So the uptake of antenatal, I can say in one health center, they used to have about 20 per month. But as we speak, we are about over 100 plus per month. And I can tell you that one of the bits beyond the staff and everything was the introduction of POCUS. POCUS, it's ultrasound that is able, and it can be utilized by the nurse, by the clinical officer, right? And it's portable, and you're able to do proper scans on the pregnant mother, and you're able to tell if there's anything that is amiss or if the baby is well on the scene.
All right. Got you on that. Service above self is the conversation we are having this morning, mainly focusing on our mothers and just looking at ways in which we can be able to reduce the figures that are there that are very, very sad and daunting as well. So this is what we are talking about. And remember, you can be able to also be part and parcel of this conversation. The number is right there on on your screens. If you've got any comment, any questions that you would love to ask on the same, the number is 0707 303 212. 0707 303 212. Get to talk to us, send us a message via WhatsApp, and I'll be reading through your messages as they come in. I want to get back to you, Elizabeth, and I want us to speak on the importance of the antenatal clinic. Just how important is that for an expectant mother?
I can tell you on a scale of 1 to 10, I wish there was an 11 on that scale. It's extremely important. One, I'll use the statistics that we have from Mama na Mwana.
Yes, please.
The largest percentage of mothers, of pregnant mothers that we have, actually are within the bracket of about 18 to 21.
Okay.
So that means that there is a very large number of very young mothers.
Yeah.
And if you're a first-time mother, and assuming I'm 18 years old, right? I am not well informed that if I have that headache, I'll quickly go to the shop and get some paracetamol, right? That if I feel like maybe I'm dizzy, you may think maybe I had a long day, right? Yet, if we are able to ensure that these mothers, even before conception, are able to get information around pregnancy, that one, even it goes as granular as how do you know you're pregnant, right?
Yeah.
That they need to understand their cycle, right? Their ovulation days, safe days and all, right? What are the signs of pregnancy? What are the tests that you need to have to confirm you're pregnant, right?
Yeah.
So once you cross that bit, the next step is they need to know what do they need to do? One, assuming you came to the clinic at 5 months, maybe you're dressing in extremely tight attire. So we go as granular as speaking to you around, put on comfortable clothes. And nowadays, I mean, they're very nice, fashionable items that are around.
Yeah.
The other bit is we even go as granular as the nutrition. Remember, if Elizabeth was 18 years, maybe I used to do Indomie. And I'm good to go, right? But now, because we are dealing with Elizabeth and Elizabeth Small, it means that whatever I have to take in has to be balanced, meaning we need nutritional support on the same.
Yeah.
On the same breath, I can never overemphasize on the baseline tests. That if I don't know my blood group, you can imagine if Elizabeth is O negative, automatically it means that Elizabeth needs to organize herself in terms of getting the 2 injections, right? We also have to check what you call the hemoglobin level. At least for women, for ladies, we always have to ensure the HB is above 12.
Yeah.
So if I go and my HB is 6, it poses a very high risk. And at least if I go to clinic, the intervention can be done extremely early. The other test is HIV. In the event I go and test and maybe I'm HIV positive, there's medication I need to start early to ensure that my baby doesn't get sick, right? We go as granular as even testing for sexually transmitted infections and hepatitis B.
Yeah.
So once you do the whole panel of tests, it gives you a baseline of how Elizabeth is. Not forgetting checking the high blood pressure, the blood pressure rather, and the sugar levels, because we have diabetes in pregnancy and we also have hypertension in pregnancy, which I earlier spoke about. That is a great, it's crazy, it's crazy, yes. So once this lovely lady has the baseline, and then not forgetting the scans, right? And scan is mostly to detect, is the fetus viable, right? Is there any abnormality that maybe we need to inform the mother in advance, right? Or you may be thinking you're carrying 1 baby and you have 5. So it means we need to prepare this particular lovely lady.
Yeah.
And beyond that, there's the individual birth plan, where you now need to start having conversations around finance, right? We need to know by this time when you're due, right? How are you going to pay for your clinics, right? How are you going to make sure that you attend them, right? And in case you relocate to another area, because we've also realized a lot of young mothers are relocating to maybe their mom's places or family places for support.
Yeah.
So support is extremely also important in ensuring that the mental health of our mothers is in place.
Yeah, and we'll talk about support as we also get to talk about, now,
Yeah.
post giving birth, so postpartum. We'll get to that bit as we continue with this conversation. But I still want to linger on, you know, the fact that some of these things you're mentioning seem very simple. It's like very normal and usual information. But it's critical to also note that it's not that for everyone. You know, the fact that you were mentioning something as simple as even just knowing, are you pregnant? Because for some of these mothers, they're really young mothers, as young as 18, and unfortunately sometimes even younger than 18. So it is very important to even speak about this very common and normal things that may seem normal to most of us, but is really crucial to that maybe young mother somewhere watching us right now, right? You agree with that?
Very true. I agree with you.
Maybe what would you say are some of the challenges that you get to encounter as you do this?
Wow. The one thing that we've managed to pick in the program is that we need to be more on the ground. So like for us, we are on ground twice to thrice a week.
Okay.
We work together with the community health promoters. We do the visits, the home visits. So for us, what we do, because we have all the data, we are able also to have, we are guided by we have monthly meetings, like even a day like today, we have a meeting with the CHPs in the program. We also have a WhatsApp group with all the community health promoters. And this one helps us also to act real time in case there's anything arising. So number one, presence on the ground is very critical, because if today I may be visited and maybe we have what we call referral slips, right? We have some tools we use to collect data. So if today I was given a referral slip to start clinic, right? And the CHP comes again after 2 weeks and still finds I have not gone, right? You realize that sometimes the transition may be immediate, sometimes it may even take 3 to 4 minutes for 4 visits because of various reasons, right? So one, on-ground support is extremely important. Having the right information is extremely critical, and that's why we always have refresher courses for the entire for the program. We are also able to take our dear community health promoters through the tools that we use and the importance of data integrity and proper data entry, right? And of course, the monthly meetings also help us support them in a very big way, because whatever data we get is what helps us even to plan for a way of closing up on the gap, or if something is happening in a good way, we amplify it in itself.
Yeah. All right, so we've seen some of these projects that are almost similar, whereby, you know, you just go to these places, you go to the communities, down to the community levels, and just get to speak to mothers. But what would you say makes this particular project different, the Mama na Mwana project? What makes it different from every other project?
Okay. One, it's all inclusive at a 360 degrees. From the community health promoter to the nurse in the facilities. And important to note is that even as much as we're working with the government facilities, we work very closely, like with around 18 other facilities that support mothers in the area. We also have the doctors and the specialists, maybe gynecologists who are in the facilities, right? So there's a lot of inclusivity in it, and we don't operate as a silo. So the aspect of having everyone in and not forgetting community leaders. We actually, as early as 2 weeks ago, we have forums where we sit in with the leaders. We have representation from people living with disabilities. We have the chiefs. We have Nyumba Kumi heads. We have Boda Boda Association heads from the region, taxi, from even Gao, or rather the police and all. So such engagement is also what helps us to strengthen initiatives that will need also support, maybe from administrative perspective. And I know we'll come to that when we talk about IDs and all.
And actually, let's just get into that. You know, you were letting me know earlier that we have, you know, mothers or women who don't even have their IDs. So meaning that they have not even registered for something like SHA. So the finance bit becomes an issue as well. If you can just get straight into that as well.
Okay. I can tell you long time I knew that where we have challenges of ID would be the interior places, right? But this particular program, in terms of where we are implementing at, we interact a lot with the facilities and have meetings. And so whenever we are doing, we're getting the feedback, we informed that the mothers are still having challenges to register with SHA. So we went granular to check what could be the issue. The first issue is, I mentioned about the refugee community, right? So because naturally, you know, God forbid if we ever go to any other country, but you'll come in very scared, right? So in the process, if you're supposed to get your documentation, you'll find you'll not get it, and in turn, you'll not even go to the clinic. So we realized a large number of the refugees did not have IDs. Now, to our own dear Kenyan citizens, our mothers, same picture. You'll find that maybe they had come from a different county, right? And they relocated and came to Kajiado maybe for work or so. So you'll find that since they didn't have an ID on that side, when they come here, you still continue. And it's interesting when the lovely mothers, you know, they're very, very open with us, and they say, Mzee ako na ID. So if Mzee has an ID, then me, I'm okay, I'm good to go, right? So you can see the reason why we need to do a lot of sensitization and awareness on the same. So this has to be a constant conversation of which we have to bring in various stakeholders to implement on the same.
Wow. Okay. So now, as we get to finalize on this conversation, let's talk about the postnatal now, the postnatal care. And I understand that, you know, the first few weeks are very, very critical to mothers. Why is that so?
Okay. I like using examples. So if Elizabeth today has delivered, of course, the necessary information will be put in. Assuming I delivered through cesarean section, there'll be instructions on the book to show discharged, you're on medication, right? And you need to come to clinic within 2 weeks. And not me alone, but me and baby. So using the example of Elizabeth, who's had a cesarean section, one, when the mother is being reviewed, you want to see, are they able to establish what we call lactation, right? Have they been able to ensure that the baby is well attached, latched, right? And that the baby is able to breastfeed well? Because there are two things that happen. Apart from you nourishing the baby, you're also helping the uterus to contract, and so that all the bleeding can just expel within a particular duration on the same. So beyond that also, that's the time also for the babies, they're able to also, for those who had not gotten what we call the BCG vaccine, they're able to get, because what happens, my dear, is if a baby was like quite underweight or was unwell, immunizations are delayed a bit, right? So you'll find some at that time with that duration, within that duration of 2 weeks, when they come back and maybe baby is now much better, the initiation of that particular vaccine is put in place. Now, we also have the other category of our dear lovely mothers who may have delivered at home, right? And as we sit here, I look at the statistics of hospital delivery, and I'm proud to say that with Mama na Mwana, we've moved from last year, we were at about 80. As I speak, the last data we had in June, we were at 98%. Right? In short, we're ensuring that the mothers are delivering at the facility and not at home. So for that mother who may have delivered at home and who was fished maybe by the CHP along the way, they're able to also start those vaccines and also the checkups to check, are you bleeding normally, right? Because after 2 weeks, you cannot be having a gush of blood. No, it's supposed to go reducing, right? You're also looking at the status of the mother. Is she feeding well? Because if she feeds well, automatically also the baby is okay. Then a very critical proponent on mental health, because you'll find for many it's a lovely thing to have your baby. Maybe you have support. Everyone is just happy, but also there are many who it's tears. Maybe you never planned for that baby, right? Or immediately the baby came, there has been a bit of issues that are arising also in the family, right? So automatically there, you'll find most mothers go into what we call postnatal depression. So you see within those 2 weeks, you're able to capture quite a lot, and that's why we encourage the mothers to come the first 2 weeks, then from there, as the baby comes for immunizations, right? You are also looking at the health of the mother and the baby, When you get to around 5 months, 4 months, already, even 3 months, already conversations on, yes, continue breastfeeding, but remember when you get to a particular point, we need to start preparing to wean the baby to other foods. Now that's where the interesting story is when it comes to exclusive breastfeeding.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you know, something that we rarely talk about,
yes,
or I would say we overlook,
yes,
is that part of, you know, postpartum.
Yeah.
And specifically when we talk about postpartum depression,
yes,
it's a conversation that is not really hard. And you know, just to get to speak about what kind of support does, you know, the mother need around that time in order to ensure that they don't sink into the postpartum depression as we finalize.
Okay. Most of the time, you as the mother will not even realize you have an issue. It takes somebody else to see and be like, oh, she looks irritable.
Yeah.
She's not bonding with her baby. She doesn't want to hold the baby. So most of the time as the mother, you as the, I'll call it a patient for now, you're not cognizant about what is happening. You'll just think it's just being overwhelmed with maybe post-pregnancies and all, right? So the aspect of also being in what we call like support groups, it could be even family, other members who are mothers before, and even in clinic, having those very good conversations in terms of health talks, which are able to tell you, oh, you're not sleeping well, there's an issue, right? You're having a feeling of worthlessness, right? You're looking at that baby and you're thinking, this is not what I need. You even feel like maybe throwing the baby over to the road or just leaving it, right? So you should be able to unpack those, I'll call them dangerous signs, and have those conversations. And within those conversations, you're able to know what is the cause. And as we've said, the causes are many. So with that, there are times mothers have to go into medication. Sometimes even you'll realize they decided to be heroes. They're the ones taking care of the baby. They're the ones washing the house. They're the ones tilling the farm.
They're doing everything.
And they didn't sleep at night. So that feeling of also getting so overwhelmed can also really mess you up. So we have to also normalize getting help as we get strength, and then we can continue with our other chores on the same.
Okay.
Yes.
We need to put a cap to this conversation. So thank you so very much for just shedding light and for the work that you are doing with Mama na Mwana. What would be your final remarks?
Okay. Last week we had what we call the Mama Fair. And I can tell you it was an extreme eye-opener. And this was a fair where we were reaching out to pregnant mothers specifically. We saw close to 840 mothers. And with that, we were able to offer free scans, free antenatal profiles, free consultation, name it, everything that you need to get. We had a large percentage of mothers who had not even started the clinic. So even just reassuring and telling them this is the right place and the right time. So this particular fair was a great eye-opener, and we realized we need to replicate similar things, not only where we are, but in other areas. Because I realize some people have got phobia even to go to the hospital. So sometimes when you meet them at their point, they are more comfortable, it's safe. So for us, it's a lot of learning. We were able to ensure that we had the registration of IDs on site. We were able to have the SHA people on site to ensure that there is that seamless transition. So I may say that for us, we need to continue to engage, especially healthcare workers, all of us collaboratively, and see how we can engage mothers and fathers and mothers to be, furnish them with the correct information, create avenues of referrals where they can ask, right, and get the right information. So I would say, as Mama na Mwana, we look forward to just continuously supporting not only the mothers but the communities to be aware and for us to prevent the deaths from our mothers and our babies.
I agree with you on that, and thank you for the work that you are doing, and hence you are our woman at the forefront today. Thank you for joining us. This is where we end this conversation. My colleagues are on the other side of Karen, as Victor loves to put it. And gentlemen, I am sure you agree with me, you know, from this conversation that we are just from having with Elizabeth, that it is crucial and we must safeguard our mothers. I mean, they bring life.
The communities around within which we live. So it's important to safeguard.
Absolutely. Victor, you agree on
Absolutely.
the same too?
No, naturally, women are nurturers, right?
Yes.
Their work is to nurture. So if they don't get the right environment, then you can imagine the outcome. That goes back to what the good book says, that a good woman builds her home, right? That is to nurture. So when you give her the right environment, including parenthood, bringing up a child, then it means that even the community and the society that will be brought up will be a good community.
That's
so
true.
it begins there.
Yeah.
So yes, talk about women. Our Kenyan women football are still in the Women Africa Cup of Nations matches. So we also need to support them so that they can nurture the football, the future football in this country. True or false?
Absolutely, absolutely. They lost their first game,
Tomorrow
but
they'll be facing Senegal, a very tough match,
Yeah.
Senegal, and we wish them the best. And then again tomorrow we'll also have Morocco versus Algeria. I can tell you, the tenacity, the energy in that field is something else.
I
wish
can't
Kenya the
wait.
best.
I can't wait to see tomorrow's game, and I wish wish the starlets, our Kenyan starlets, all the very best in their second game. We need to finalize, but as we do so, Mike, air quality today, Nairobi air quality. How are we doing?
We were talking about the implementation of the Nairobi Air Quality Action Plans, because some of the things that it focuses on is reducing emissions, especially when it comes to matters of vehicle emissions, and also strengthening the enforcement around that area to enhance air quality.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, when it comes to politics, we talked about what some of the options ahead of 2027, and much of that.
Get ready for a captivating continental football extravaganza. KBC Channel 1 brings you exclusive coverage of the 2026 Women's Africa Cup of Nations, WAFCON. From Sunday the 26th of July to Sunday the 16th of August 2026, Morocco is the battleground as Nigeria defend their title against 15 other nations fighting to lift the prestigious trophy. Who will be crowned Queens of African Football? Courtesy of the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Creative Economy and Sports. Watch all the action unraveling on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner. The wait is over. KBC Iko Huduma Center. Starting with Nairobi, kupata huduma za KBC imekuwa rahisi. From digital guidance and signet services to booking of commercial adverts and documentaries. Visit our dedicated desks at Huduma Center GPO, Times Square, Makadara, Kibera, or Eastleigh. Tunakungoja hapo. Whether it's a casual announcement or a specialized media solution for your business, we are here to serve you. KBC at Huduma Centers, moving closer to you. Your station, your service.